folks, welcome to the Wiseguy kitchen. So we decided to show you guys tonight how to make a tortellini egg drop soup. It takes about 15 minutes to make. Your family would love it, and we're going to get started right now. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start with some chicken stock. Now you have two options. You can make the chicken stock like I did. It'll sit in your refrigerator for 2 to 3 days. Or you could buy a store-bought one. They have them with low sodium, no salt, no fat, depending on what you like. But I made a natural one using a whole chicken and some spices. So you want to put about a quart in here. And this is good too for the guys at the club when you're having a poker game and they're all hungry and in a hurry. And bring that to a boil. As that's starting to boil, you want to cut up just a little bit of parsley. Usually when you make the chicken stock, you always put a little spice in there. So basically just a little parsley for some flavor and some salt and pepper. All right. Some of the boys back at the club, they get a little fancy. They want all that portobello mushroom and chicken and meat, sausage inside. But the kids like the plain old cheese tortellini. It's just like a ravioli. And these are freshly made. You can get them at any specialty shop. What we want to do is get a couple of eggs going. One of the things you should do when you crack an egg is hold it up and look before you dump. Because if it's bad, you just blew your whole meal. Okay? Get a little whisk. We want to season our chicken stock with a little pepper and a little salt. And bring that to a nice boil as we get our tortellini ready. And so far, that's just about it on the ingredients because it's a really, really quick dish. So what I do is I make some potato croquettes, some rice balls. They're both a vegetarian dish. We'll show you how to make that on our next episode. But we always keep these around in case people get hungry. Marrone is that good. Our chicken stock is boiling. We have our fresh tortellini. You just want to dump some of that tortellini in there. Typically, I like to do maybe about a pound. And here we go. We're just going to bring that to a boil. The fresh tortellini should really cook within maybe 3-4 minutes at the most. So while we're doing that, while that's getting ready to boil, let's cut up just a little bit more parsley for our garnish. And leave that right there. Because I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in a second. Now we want to get our eggs again. We want to whisk them one more time. Now here's the very tricky part. Once this comes to a complete boil, we're going to put our eggs in there very slowly and we're going to whisk. If not, you'll have scrambled eggs. So you don't want to do that. You want to make almost like an egg drop soup. And what we want to do is you want to start a little whisk going on in your soup. And you want to pour that egg very gently, stirring so it doesn't become scrambled eggs. You want it very loose. And here we go. So you're just going to do that. Stir it just a little bit more. Take a little bit of Pecorino Romano on this one. Everyone knows I like the Parmigiano, but on this one we're going to put a little Pecorino Romano. Okay, and we're going to give it a nice stir. A little pecorino, a little parsley, and there you have it. Tortellini egg drop soup a la Wiseguy Kitchen. How you doing? Welcome back to the Wiseguy Kitchen. On our last show, we filmed in front of a live audience right in Vienna, Virginia. And some of our audience members asked me, they said, hey Vinny, on your next show, could you make something that's a vegetarian dish, an Italian vegetarian dish? So today we're going to make broccoli rabe with cannellini beans and an olive oil and garlic. It's absolutely fantastic. My grandmother made it for me when I was a kid, and I'm going to make it for you tonight. So let's start by cutting our garlic. I can never find the right knife when I'm looking for one. Never mind, I got one. All right, so we're going to start with cutting our garlic. Get the pan up a little hot before we put our oil in. And if you guys seen Goodfellas, when Fat Paulie there, Big Paulie, was cutting the garlic nice and thin. The guys back at the club in Brooklyn on Wednesday nights, we're all playing poker and eating dinner together. If you give them some store-bought supermarket olive oil, they throw it at you. They want the real good stuff, the extra virgin. This is a really, really good dish. You want to get 2 pans going. I prefer to use 2 different pans because I want to get my garlic cooked really nice when my broccoli rabe is getting nice and soft. So we're going to start by putting some of this virgin olive oil in here. One of my guys back at the club, Big Jimmy with the big shoulders. They call him Jimmy with the big shoulders because he said that everyone invites him to the funeral, not to the wedding, because they only call him to tell him about their problems. So Jimmy loved this, one of his favorite dishes. All right, so we want to go ahead and throw some garlic in here in your smaller pan and let that just kind of brown up. You know, garlic doesn't come with salt and pepper on it, so we want to put a little salt and pepper on it. You know, I like to use probably, 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. See the way that's sizzling up. Now, your broccoli rabe, you can buy this in pretty much any supermarket that you want to go to. I like to take the stems off just a little bit, because that's where the bitterness lies. And I dumped that in my pan as well. You can hear that sizzling up right now. You're going to be amazed at how quick this is. So if you're doing a party, for example, and you have some dinner guests coming over, you're making steak or veal cutlet, and you always have a few people that are vegetarians, this is a great dish. It's very quick to make. So when you go shopping at your supermarket, go to your produce manager, tell them you want some broccoli rabe, R-A-B-E. It's awesome. It's a great dish. It's very healthy. And as you can see, it's starting to wilt a little bit. It's getting nice and soft. I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I tell you what I like to do. I like to cook a nice meal like this, get in front of the DVD, and put on a nice mob movie. Can you imagine watching Goodfellas with Paulie's cutting the garlic, and there you are eating the garlic? Man, it don't get better than that. See how nice and brown that's getting? Beautiful. All right, so there we go. Look, we want to toss this up a little bit. Now, like on those stunt shows where they tell you don't try this at home, it's dangerous. I would suggest that you use a tong to do this, but if you want to get fancy and go for it, then go for it. Okay? Now, as this is cooking here, you want to remove your garlic and olive oil, right? Because that's still hot, so it's still going to brown up. Now you want to take your cannellini beans. You can find these in any of your better supermarkets. I prefer the fresh cannellini beans, but obviously they sell them in cans and frozen as well. But at the Wiseguy kitchen, we only use fresh product. Okay, so you want to dump that in here. Look how beautiful that is, see? You're going to toss that up a little bit, and now you're going to add your olive oil with your garlic in there. This is a great dish, very healthy for the family. Something like this could feed 2 people or your Aunt Sadie, depending on who's coming over. But this is a great meal. You can have fun with the guys, playing poker. Even big wise guys will eat this. Some of them will throw some sausage in there, broccoli rabe and sausage. You see that at most Italian restaurants. But this is the vegetarian version of it. It's broccoli rabe with olive oil, garlic, and cannellini beans. Pour that in here. Look how beautiful that is. It took us literally minutes. And I like to add just a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and a little pecorino romano on top. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Broccoli rabe with cannellini beans a la Wiseguy. And we'll see you next time on the Wiseguy Kitchen. Be cool. Forget about it. I feel like I'm on Mulberry Street, Little Italy. It's the best. The flavor of the cannellini beans with the little bitterness of the broccoli rabe and that roasted garlic and olive oil. Unbelievable. Forget about it, how good this is. Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the Wiseguy Kitchen. Tonight, we got a special dish we're making. You know, everyone's on a budget nowadays, so we're making an old Neapolitan traditional linguine with oil and garlic called linguine aglio olio. It's linguine with roasted garlic, extra virgin olive oil, but we're gonna kick it up just a little bit Wiseguy style. My guys back at the club, they like a little color, a little flavor. So we're putting in some baby arugula that you can probably get at any produce market, and some beautiful Roma tomatoes. One of my family's favorites is to take a little bit of breadcrumb and toast it up in the olive oil. Add a little pecorino romano, and you got yourself one heck of a dish. So if you got a bunch of 4 or 5 guys playing poker and they're hungry, and you open the drawer and there's nothing around but pasta, you could cook it up in 10-15 minutes. Now normally, back at the club, we like to make our own pasta. But as you know, it takes time to do that. So sometimes, when you're in a pinch, you need to go to the supermarket and get a really good quality pasta that you can cook and make this beautiful dish. So I prefer Barilla. I normally go to Barilla pasta right in the aisle. Most supermarkets have it. We're gonna boil some water. And once again, we're making a dish with 5 items. We got pasta, garlic, arugula, tomatoes, a little breadcrumb, and some pecorino romano. Very simple dish to make. So while that water's starting to boil, let's turn this on and get the garlic cut up. And what you want to do is you want to grab the garlic, watch your fingers, and cut nice pieces. Just like this guy that owed me money once, but we won't talk about that. So we just want to make our garlic right now. The pan's getting nice and hot. I like to use a really, really good extra virgin olive oil when I make this dish to bring out the flavor. Matter of fact, when I'm in the DC metro area, I go visit a place called I Love Oil. And it's right there at the Mosaic Center. And you know, when I'm traveling and I don't really have time to visit a store, I go to All You To Go, also in the DC metro area in Vienna, Virginia. So both of those places are really cool. They got a great selection. I mixed that up with my garlic, my extra virgin olive oil here. And you want to give it a nice coat. You don't want to make soup, but you want it to be pretty juicy. And you're going to go ahead and let that cook up for a while. And here we go. So we're going to let that just brown up a little bit. All right. And one of the things that we're going to do now is cut up some Roma tomato. Very, very small slices, and they will get nice and soft in that dish, in the olive oil. So you put a few of them in there. There we go. So here we go. We got our tomatoes, we have the garlic roasting, the water's boiling, and we're getting ready to cook. All right, so our garlic is getting nice and toasted. The water seems just about ready to boil. And we're gonna throw some pasta in there. There it goes. All right, that's gonna cook up nice in there. All right, so that garlic is going really good. We're gonna throw in these tomatoes. You wanna step back a little bit because they're gonna start to sizzle. Let's add a little pepper, a little salt, I tell you, you could find a bunch of hungry guys on any social club in this country. You give them a dish of pasta, especially just an old traditional, easy to make, oil and garlic. Think about it. Most people have oil in their closet. You got some garlic in the refrigerator, right? You can always scrounge up a tomato or two. You can make this literally in 10-15 minutes. And you know what? Some wise guys are vegetarians too, so it's a pretty good vegetarian dish as well. Look at that. Look at that color. Now what we're going to do is we're going to wait a little bit before we put in the baby arugula, because we don't want that to wilt too much. All right, so when we come back at the Wiseguy Kitchen, we're going to finish up this dish. Until then, visit www.thewise-guy-kitchen.com. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we're back at the Wiseguy kitchen. You see that roasted garlic going really good? The tomatoes are softening real nice. Little trick now. We're gonna take some good old-fashioned Italian breadcrumb, toast it right up. See that sizzling? Now, just like anything else, it's gonna shrink up that olive oil a little bit. So we wanna go ahead and pour just a little bit more. Look at that, that looks beautiful. We wanna take some of our baby arugula, dump that in there real quick. And let's get some of our pasta. Now you should use a colander over at the sink. And I like to go right from the pot to the frying pan, as they say. That looks just beautiful, look at that. I'm telling you, this is a dish that Tony Soprano himself would die for. Put a little Parmesan in there. Now let's go over here as we plate this. Now, I like to add just a little bit more Pecorino Romano all around that. Forget about it as that a dish. That is a dish that Tony Soprano himself would die for, amongst a couple other things. Thank you for joining me at the Wiseguy Kitchen. Linguine with oil and garlic, with a little sun-dried tomatoes going on in here. Forget about it. We'll see you next time on the Wiseguy Kitchen.